The Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flagg number one overall. No surprise with this one, Dion. It's felt like it's been a foregone conclusion since about November of this past year. Maybe even before that. The only reason why it was sort of up in the air was like there was a time period of like 2 to 3 days last fall where people thought maybe Ace Bailey could catch Cooper Flagg. Never happened. He's been number one. He was always going to be number one. What's your instant reaction to this pick?
No brainer. No brainer. I think Cooper Flag is one of the rare players. So obviously the Mavs are now in that like two timeline era, right? One that I watched my Warriors in completely mess up, by the way, just completely ruin a franchise trying to do the two timeline thing. Cooper Flag is one of the very rare exceptions to that, in my opinion, where I think his fit on any 30 teams in the league is incredibly seamless with the way he plays. Like I think you could put him in Washington, and he could be your star player. I think you can put him in Dallas where he's playing next to AD and Kyrie, and he can just fit in, right? And he could kind of play. PJ Washington's still on the team, so like I don't want to say he can play the PJ Washington role, but he is going to play a version of the PJ Washington role, right? Like that's kind of gonna be what he is. He's not gonna be the main scorer. He's definitely not gonna be the main ball handler with Kyrie on the roster, and
Mhm.
maybe until Kyrie comes back. But I think he's able to seamlessly fit into what this team wants. And in a couple of years, it's his team. And he
Mhm.
can fit into that as well. And I think it's an incredibly seamless pick. It makes no sense to me how they got the number one pick, but congratulations, Dallas. You jumped 79 spots. You should have made the playoffs. You didn't. You traded Luca and you wound up with Coop somehow. So congratulations to the Mavericks. I think it's phenomenal. I'm very curious what they do next. I think they're far from done. I think they're far from done tonight. I think Riley and I will be on the Zoom making another Dallas Mavericks make a pretty big trade video.
I'm really interested to see what, like exactly what you're talking about. How do they merge these two timelines? Is there a way to find another stud or another player who's ready to get there? Just because, like, if this, this might sound dumb, but if this Mavericks team was assembled in 2020, where you had that version of AD and that version of Kyrie, you almost look at Cooper Flagg as the Tim Duncan type, winning a ring his rookie year with the Spurs when they already had the star in place with David Robinson, where he could come in and just fill whatever role he needs to do and excel at it, and maybe they make a push for the title. Just with Davis and Irving's health concerns, I don't really see that happening in these next couple of years. I think for the Mavericks to become true contenders, it's going to be on Cooper's timeline. It's going to be if he realizes his star potential. But I think he can get there, and that can transition us into talking some about his strengths and his weaknesses. Dion, in case we have any NBA fans tuning in who maybe didn't watch a ton of Duke this past year or just watch Cooper Flag highlights, what do people need to know about his game?
I think you want me to do positives or weaknesses because I think I'm one of the rare people that views a good amount of weaknesses in Cooper Flagg's
Hmm.
game.
How about let's start negative and I can chime in with some positives.
Riley loves to be negative. He's been calling me Darren Sproles all week. Riley loves to be negative. Uh, no, in my opinion, one of the bigger negatives to his game is going to be some of the ability to create his own bucket. I think he struggles down the stretch when it's like you're going one on one against the best team's defender, but there's three dudes waiting on you. So I think he's going to need a lot of spacing. I think he's going to need other guys around him. That in mind, Dallas has all that. Dallas has plenty of spacing. They're probably going to close games with AD at the five. They're at some point they're going to close with Kyrie. They have Clay. They have PJ Washington. They have Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. The list goes on players on this roster. I'm sure I missed somebody too that they'll let me know about in the comment section. But I think Dallas is the perfect place to kind of fill some of his weaknesses that I do view. And I think he has time to build those weaknesses. I don't know that I necessarily fully believe he will. I've said this. I view Coop as a long-term all-star. I don't view him as a superstar. So I view Coop kind of in that J-Dub-esque player, where it's like you are probably a 10 plus time all-star, all defense guy, maybe even sneak into one of the all NBA teams, but I don't think he'll ever be viewed as like the man on a team per se.
Mm-hmm. I tend to believe in his ceiling to be more so of the superstar level. Like I was comping him to Kawhi Leonard throughout the season. I know Kawhi at his peak was more of the lockdown one-on-one defender where like you could not score on him. I don't really think that's Coop's game. I think his is more so like the instincts, the help side, recovery, shot like the weak side shot blocking type stuff, plus the steals and everything in terms of just how good he is as a team defender and creates chaos with his athleticism, with his length, as opposed to like maybe a true lockdown guy. Maybe he gets there, maybe that's in his arsenal, but I would even say my strengths for him, I know he's not necessarily like a break you off the dribble kind of guy, but his ability throughout like January into the season's end to just get wherever he wanted in the mid range and just it seemed like anytime he shot a mid range jumper, it was going in, or a pull up jumper for that matter, it was going in like 90% of the time. Really improved as a shooter. Of course, you know he has that lob threat capability if he's off ball, like the athleticism, the finishing, the strength, all of that is very real. And it was more so the Kawhi, like prime Kawhi offensively, where I thought Flagg's ceiling could be. At the same time, I think if you're looking at the best players in the world right now, the Giannis's, the Jokic's, I think let's go with Giannis. Let's go with like the best forward in the world who he could aspire to be. I do think some of the he's limited by like his size. Like he's what 6'8", 6'9". He doesn't have the freakish length with to go with the ball handling and all the shot creation stuff that you see with someone like Giannis, to where I don't ever know if he can get to like top two, top three player in the league level. But at the same time, I mean, Kawhi's peak, he was in that top five, like people were, there is a world where even if he's not this otherworldly one of one that we see with Giannis or something, that he still could fit that generational billing. Just and we've talked about all this, and haven't even gotten to the just how cerebral he is, how good of a playmaker he is, that he can basically be your point guard too. Like there's a lot to love with this pick. You said at the top, it's a no-brainer.
I do believe it's a no-brainer. I want to say that the Kawhi arc, I agree with. I do agree with that. I'm lower on Kawhi than most, though.
Hmm.
I think Kawhi's career, the peaks are phenomenal, but there's so few and far between. And I know I know a lot of that was injuries, but like, hey, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can only go based off what happened.
Hmm.
And 2019 was very fun. What has he done since? What did he do before? Minus what was it, 2014 Finals
Yes, Finals
MVP?
MVP. Yeah.
And I know KD plays a role in that, being in the Bay. Don't get me wrong; those Spurs teams were phenomenal, and then obviously he subsequently got injured. But I just think I don't believe he was the best player on that 2014 team. I think he won the Finals MVP. Maybe he was the best player in that series. I think the only time he was the best player on the team was the 2019 Raptors. I think Paul George has an incredible argument for being better than him on those Clippers teams. James Harden is better than him at the moment, in my opinion, and obviously age plays a role in that. But I could see Coop having the Kawhi career arc, but I also think it's lesser than what a lot of people believe.
Mhm. I think that's a fair question in terms of what his ceiling is and everything. We will continue to have more in-depth draft coverage in the coming weeks on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. Make sure you tune in throughout the night to see mine and Dion's reaction to every single pick in the first round.